Standing Order number 45-2, I wish to reorganize the sequence of the business of today to move to order number 9. Can the clerk read it out, please?
Order number 9, motion, extension of the mandate of the National Dialogue Committee.
Can the mover move forward?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to move the following motion: extension of the mandate of the National Dialogue Committee. Aware that the National Dialogue Committee was established by Parliament through a resolution passed by the National Assembly and Senate on the 16th of August 2023 and 29th of August 2023, respectively. Further, aware that the resolution outlines the mandate of the committee, which includes to facilitate dialogue, consensus building, and recommend appropriate constitutional, legal, and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya. Acknowledging that since its establishment, the committee has made tremendous progress in exercise of its mandate and has achieved the following milestone: 1, formulated and adopted the framework agreement, framed and adopted the statement of issues, unbundled the issues and agreed on prioritization of issues, harmonized the unbundled issues, conducted public participation and the stakeholder engagement in line with the requirements of Article 10 of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, and examined and analyzed the memoranda that were received from the public and stakeholder submissions. Further, cognizant that the committee is present in the process of considering the issues for negotiation and recommending appropriate constitutional, legal, and policy reforms on each of the framed issues, which are: 1, electoral justice and related matters; 2, outstanding constitutional matters; 3, fidelity to political parties and coalition and the law on multi-party democracy; 4, entrenching the National Government Constituency Development Fund, National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and the Senate Oversight Fund into the Constitution; and finally, establishment and entrenchment of state officers. Conscious that the resolution as passed by both houses of Parliament required the committee to report to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions within 60 days from the 29th of August 2023, recognizing the need for the committee to conclude the consideration of the issues for negotiations, the process of making the appropriate constitutional, legal, and policy reforms on each of the issues as framed by the committee, and preparation of a report for submission to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalition and thereafter to Parliament. Now, therefore, the House of Parliament resolved to extend the mandate of the National Dialogue Committee by a further 30 days from the 28th of October 2023, and consequently the committee shall be required to report to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalition on or before the 26th of November 2023, and after that submit its report to Parliament. Madam Speaker, this is a fairly straightforward motion. The mandate of this committee lapses on the 28th, which is next week, and as you know, Madam Speaker, this House proceeds on a short recess. So we are bringing this motion as a precaution so that the mandate of this committee does not lapse when we are in recess, Madam Speaker. As you may be aware, Madam Speaker, the National Assembly yesterday did pass a similar motion and extended the mandate of the Dialogue Committee to the 23rd of November. So we are trying to synchronize the mandate of the two committees so that the time, the extension of time is on the same date. Madam Speaker, we have made quite some progress ever since we got the approval of this House. We took submissions from more than 704 stakeholders who made submissions, and we received presentations for stakeholders who appeared, more than 60, from various groups, including constitutional commissions. This process has attracted a lot of interest from Kenyans. Even the judiciary appeared before us and made submissions. I want to thank senators who took interest to make presentations before us. I want to thank Senator Wambua, who wrote a memorandum and appeared before us. Senator Ojienda, who appeared and made a very lengthy submission on the issue of checks and balances, more so how to balance power, exercise of legislative power between the National Assembly and the Senate. And all that are still matters that are under consideration. I want to thank Senator for Narok, who also made a presentation on how to harmonize the roles of these two houses. So, Madam Speaker, this process is very key and is relevant even to us as a Senate. We have already tackled a number of issues and almost agreed, more or less, on issues of IBC, issues of entrenching the office of Cabinet, Prime Cabinet Secretary, the issue of fidelity to political parties and multipartyism, the issue of having a leader of opposition in the House, the issue of the three funds, NGCDF, affirmative action, and Senate Oversight Fund. Madam Speaker, there are a number of very important issues that are still pending before the committee, including issues of cost of living, issues of checks and balances, which touch on the relationship between this House, Senate, and the National Assembly, the issue on issues generally around governance and outstanding constitutional issues. So, Madam Speaker, in view of that, it is the wish of the committee that we get more time so that we can deliberate this matter. I must thank members, the delegations from the Kenya Kwanza, who have really spearheaded this process in good faith, with a lot of sensitivity, without any trace of vindictiveness, that's how leadership should be. And we should never fear amending our constitution, Madam Speaker. You know that many countries in Africa, very progressive democracies, even South Africa, enacted their constitution in 1996. By 1997, they amended. Ghana passed their constitution in 1992. By 1996, they had amended. Many people cheat Kenyans when they say that the American constitution has never been amended. It has been amended many times. Many times. Actually, it was passed in 1787, and after 5 years, they passed a total of 10 amendments, including the Bill of Rights in 1791. So this is a process that we should all embrace. We should not fear if it comes to a referendum. We shouldn't fear. Australia has had more than 19 referendums, and in November, they are going to have another one. They have made attempts to amend 44 clauses of the Australian Constitution, and in all those, only 8 have been successful. The rest have been rejected. So going for a referendum, Madam Speaker, to amend our Constitution, it's not war. That's the mechanism that we have put in our Constitution, that there are some clauses that are protected under Article 255. So the only way you can amend them is 255. So let's isolate issues that can be amended using parliamentary process. If there are those which require us to go to a referendum, we do so. It's not anything that is unusual. Rwanda has amended their constitution through a referendum. So we can do it, Madam Speaker. All that we want to do is to ensure that we live as Kenyans, Madam Speaker. We want to respect our multi-party democracy, accept that there will always be the executive side and the minority side, that is the ones that lead the opposition. So I don't want to spend a lot of time, Madam Speaker. I urge senators to support this fairly straightforward motion so that we can get time to finalize. And I urge senators to be on the look when there is an opportunity, appear before this committee, make presentations. Madam Speaker, I know even Senator Cherargei made his presentation. We didn't get time to hear him, but exercise the window that we are giving you with this extension. Come there and share your views with us. Because when we have such a process, Madam Speaker, we don't want to lock anybody. Anybody who has a proposal, come, put it on the table, we listen to everybody, and then we'll report back to Kenyans. So, Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to move and kindly ask Senator Boni Halwale to second. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I thank you. And I want to thank Senator Mugeni for giving me the honor to second this very important motion. When this committee was constituted, there was a lot of suspicion and bad blood between the two sides at the dialogue. With time, things have normalized, and therefore it gives me a lot of pleasure to be seconding a motion that gives them an opportunity to conclude, make the product hygienic, make the product even better. And Madam Speaker, I will not dwell too much on it because of the interest of time, and I want to leave 5 minutes for my kid brother, Jaranagay, to say something. 2 minutes and 2 minutes. But I want to applaud all the people who have made presentations, with special acknowledgement to the presentation by Professor Gideon Muigai, a man we respect in this country. He spoke to the issue of the cost of running government. Under the new constitution, the cost of running government is too high. I am persuaded that we do not need 47 counties. We need to make big counties that are economically viable. If you go to a county like Kakamega, because we are huge, we do huge projects. But you go to a small county like Isiolo, they hardly have money for development. So there is wisdom in what Professor Gideon said, and I support him, that we should reduce counties to 10 and reduce constituencies. The times when people used to say the place is too big, it is a time when we didn't have good means of transport. We didn't have good means of communication. We are now moving into the modern world. There should be no fear. I want to second, and Mr. Speaker, I second the motion as moved.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question. Aware that the National Dialogue Committee was established by Parliament through a resolution passed by the National Assembly and the Senate on 16th August 2023 and 29th August 2023 respectively. Further aware that the resolution outlines the mandate of the committee, which includes to facilitate dialogue, consensus building, and recommend appropriate constitutional, legal, and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya. Acknowledging that since its establishment, the committee has made tremendous progress in exercise of its mandate and has achieved the following milestones: formulated and adopted the framework agreement, framed and adopted the statement of issues, unbundled the issues and agreed on prioritization of issues, harmonized the unbundled issues, conducted public participation and stakeholder engagement in line with the requirements of Article 10 of the Constitution, and examined and analyzed the memoranda that were received from the public and stakeholder submissions. Further cognizant that the committee is presently in the process of considering the issues of negotiations and recommending appropriate constitutional, legal, and policy reforms on each of the framed issues, which are electoral justice and related matters, outstanding constitutional matters, fidelity to political parties, coalitions, and the law of multi-party democracy, entrenching the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and the Senate Oversight Fund into the Constitution, and establishment and entrenchment of state offices. Conscious that the resolution as passed by both houses of Parliament required the committee to report to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio coalitions within 60 days from 29th August 2023, recognizing the need for the committee to conclude the considerations of issues for negotiations, the process of making appropriate constitutional, legal, policy, and reforms on each of the issues as framed by the committee, and preparation of a report for submission to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions and thereafter to Parliament. Now, therefore, the Houses of Parliament resolve to extend mandate of the National Dialogue Committee by a further 30 days from 28th October 2023, and consequently, the committee shall be required to report to the leadership of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions on or before 26th November 2023, and after that submit its report to Parliament. Members, I will call upon senators to contribute, but pursuant to Standing Order 34-2A, I wish to extend the time by 15 minutes. David? Who is there? Senator Cherarki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank Senator Okongo Mugeni for bringing this motion and Senator Kalwale for seconding.
Honorable Senators, I wish you that you will take into consideration the time extended and bear that in mind so that we are able to finalize this. So I propose that you don't go beyond 5 minutes.
Okay. Madam Speaker, I'm well stand guided, and they say brevity is the soul of wit, so I will abide by your ruling. Madam Speaker, I want to say this national dialogue that is ongoing for some time, Madam Speaker, as they demand for extension of time, they must listen to each and every Kenyan. Madam Speaker, I was shocked when they wrote me a letter that I could not appear. And I'm an ordinary Kenyan, I'm a leader. You can imagine if they declined for all senators to appear, how will the Mama Mboga and Boda Boda appear before the committee? Madam Speaker, I want to challenge through Senator Okongo Mugeni. Learn to listen to everybody, so that by the time you are tabling your report, if there are issues that will be on administrative, if there are issues that will be go to referendum, if there are issues that will be done through parliamentary intervention, that report should come to the floor of the House. We are not worried. You know, there was BBI 1. This can be a possibility of BBI 2. Because we agree, for us who have a privilege of being learned friends, we know the Constitution is not cast on stone. We can amend at any time to improve it. Because, Madam Speaker, when we were passing, we said 70% is good, 30% is bad. And we say we'll come back and look at the 30%. I hope when the third time comes, no one will throw the baby and the bath water away. When that time comes to make those decisions, Madam Speaker, I want to urge the committee to invite me. I have one of the Solomonic, the silver bullet in unlocking where this country should go, Madam Speaker, including even of extension of presidential term, the issue of electoral justice, the issue of devolution, the issue of the role of the Senate, Madam Speaker. As we go into the future, the Senate must occupy its rightful place before the table of negotiations, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish in future, when they'll come back to the report, they must also report back to us who has been footing their bills in Bomas and the sitting allowances, so that when that report is tabled, Kenyans will not be based on suspicions, Madam Speaker. I want to wish the committee well. I hope in the next 7 days I'll be able to appear and share with you what I think is best for this country. And if there is one person who loves this country, Madam Speaker, is yours truly. We want this country to prosper. With those very many reasons and in the interest of other colleagues, allow me to support this motion because it's a procedural motion, and wish the committee well. And if they don't invite me, it will not be valid. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Wambua.
Thank you.